Hey everyone, we're going to solve rational equations. And so I'm getting my examples, but I'm going to do it on lined paper. So here I am writing the first example down on the lined paper. There are people outside my window looking in, and I'm wondering what they want right now. There we go. We got that? Okay. Okay, I really like the first two. They're kind of easy. We're going to do something called cross multiply. So anytime you have a fraction equal to a fraction, that's called a proportion. We're going to use cross multiply. Now, when we cross multiply, what we're doing is we're saying we want to get rid of the 8, so we're going to multiply both sides by 8, and we're going to get rid of the 4 by multiplying both sides by 4. But really what we're doing is we're just doing this. We're doing 8 times, so this turns into a new equation. 8 times x minus 4 equals 4 times x plus 4. And we'll distribute that and solve for x, but do you want me to show you why? Why can we do that? So the reason why is, so if we want to get rid of this 4, we multiply both sides by 4 like this. And then that 4 cancels because it was a factor. But the 4 on this side doesn't cancel, so we're actually going to distribute that 4 here. And then we say, well, we want to get rid of this 8, so we're going to multiply by 8, and that divides out, and we multiply this side by 8. But it doesn't divide out, we're going to distribute it. You ready? So cross multiply, that's like the easiest way to start. And we're going to distribute. I hope I do my math right, because that's the point, right, of being a math teacher, is to do the math right. Subtract the 4x's, and now we're going to add 32. When was the last time we solved a linear equation? It's been a while, huh? 4x equals 16 plus 32 is 48. And then divide, because the inverse operation of multiply is division. So we're going to divide. 4 goes into 4 one time, 4 goes into 8 twice, so x should equal 12. And we can check it by plugging in 12. So 12 minus 4 over 4, does that equal 12 plus 4 over 8? 12 minus 4 is 8. Does 8 over 4 equal 12 plus 4 is 16 divided by 8? So does 2 equal 2? Yep. Man, doesn't it feel good to know, like, oh, I know I got it right, instead of I hope I got it right? So now I'm going to write down example 2. Example 2, we're going to cross multiply, but it's not going to be a linear equation to solve. So here when we cross multiplied, it was a linear, but now I just accidentally told you what it was going to be. But let's see. Okay, ready? Say cross multiply, cross multiply. So cross multiplication gives you a new equation. So here's our new equation. X plus 3 times x minus 1 equals 4 times x minus 1, like that. It's kind of a silly example, but it's okay. We're gonna keep going. Ready, get set. We're gonna FOIL this. X times x is x squared. X times negative 1. 3 times x, and 3 times negative 1, like that. And now we're going to distribute this side. Okay, so what type of equation do we have now? Now we have a quadratic, and how do you have to solve a quadratic? You have to set equal to 0, factor, and then use the zero product property to solve, right? So this is not set equal to 0. I'm going to combine like terms on the left first. And then let's move these to the other side. So subtract the 4x's, but make sure you subtract it from the x's, and add the 4, and add 4 here. So we have x squared minus 2x plus 1 equals 0. And there's that set equal to 0. Now we should factor. Let's see here. What multiplies to get 1? Well, only 1 times 1. And what are the signs going to be? Good. And then do those add to get negative 2? Yes, they do. So zero product property actually says, isn't this the same factor though? Isn't that? So x equals 1. Okay, we're going to check. And what happens when we plug 1 in? Uh-oh. This is no. Okay, you may not divide by 0. This is undefined. So was that our only solution? Our only solution was x equals 1. And x equals 1 is a restricted value. So guess what? This actually has no solution. No solution. So that's the final answer. There are no solutions. The one solution we got made the denominator 0, which makes the whole thing undefined. So there is no solution to this. Okay, what did this example teach us? Number 1, we like cross multiply because it's easy, it's fun. We cross multiply and we get a new equation. But this time, once we multiplied out, we actually had a quadratic, whereas this one, we had a linear. Which one are you going to have every time? I don't know. Maybe you hope it's linear, but you might get quadratics also. How do you solve a quadratic? Well, then you set equal to 0, factor, solve. And when we solved, you have to check these answers because one of your solutions may be a restricted value. 1 made the denominator 0, which makes the whole thing undefined, which is no bueno. So no solution to this example. So that had a lot going on. Okay, you ready to kick it up a notch? So example 3, in going forward, they're going to have a plus or a minus sign. They're going to have a sum or a difference. So let's see here. X plus 2 over x plus 3 equals 1. Okay, what do you always do? What do we always do? We always factor first. Okay. So does this need to be factored? Nope. Does this need to be factored? Yes. Can it be factored? So how do we factor this? We're going to say x plus what multiplies to get 3? 3 times x minus 1. Let's see, does that add to get 2? Yes, it does. Okay, there's kind of two different ways to do this. There's two methods. I'm going to do what I think is the easiest method and what's best for your math course next year, and that is to get rid of all the denominators. Okay, so you tell me, how do I get rid of x plus 3? So the way to get rid of this denominator would be to multiply the numerator by x plus 3. Now, how do I legally multiply that? I have to do it to everything. So remember, you can multiply to a numerator and denominator and be safe, or if you have an equation, you can multiply by everything and follow that algebra rule. So I'm going to multiply here, and then I'm going to multiply this by x plus 3, and I'm going to multiply this by x plus 3. Okay? You tell me what cancels and what stays. So let's look here at the first term. So I'm multiplying the whole equation by x plus 3. Does this x plus 3 cancel with this x plus 3? Yes. So now I have x plus 2 plus. Okay, do you see this one? X plus 3 cancels, but did x minus 1 cancel? Nope. So I have 1 over x minus 1 equals, did anything cancel here? Nope, it's 1 times x plus 3. Okay, did I get rid of all the denominators? No, but I got rid of a lot, right? So we're going to say multiply, sorry about that, multiply by denominator. That's step 2. So how do I get rid of x minus 1? Well, multiply everything. So we're going to multiply this by x minus 1, multiply this by x minus 1, and multiply this by x minus 1. What's the point of doing that? To cancel this, and then the leftovers are left over. We got to figure out what's going on. What should we do with x plus 2 times x minus 1? X squared minus x plus 2x minus 2. So we FOILed that. Hey, careful here. Do you see how this divided out? Does it divide out to 0 or does it divide out to this number? that's the number 1, so you got to keep that 1, okay? X squared, FOIL, minus x plus 3x minus 3. So don't start crying. You're like, oh my gosh, I've done all this work and I have a quadratic. Because watch what happens. Watch. Combine like terms. So nothing actually happens exciting on this first step. But, okay, next step. Pretend this is a quadratic, which it kind of is. You would need everything set equal to 0. So do you see how this x squared's here and this x squared's here? Well, let's move it to one side. So I got it off the right side, and then what do you notice over here? What? It dies too. Okay. Now, do we still have a quadratic? Or do we have a linear now? Now we have a linear equation. I'm at the bottom of my page. How are you doing? Do you have room? So now I have x minus 1 equals 2x minus 3. How do we solve that? Let's subtract this x. And let's add the 3 to the other side. So here I have negative 1 plus 3 is the number 2. 2x minus x is 1x. X should equal 2. But do we circle it and move on? Nope. We got to check it. So let's check our answer. You ready? Yeah? You okay? Here we go. Let's check. What are we plugging in? We're plugging in x equals 2 to here. So 2 plus 2 is 4. 2 plus 3 is 5. Plus 1 over, okay, ready? 2. You can do this. Ready? 2 squared. 2 squared is 4 plus 2 times 2, 4. So we have 4 plus 4 is 8 minus 3 is 5. Is this a true or false statement? Does 4/5 plus 1/5 equal 1? Yep. All right. Time for one more. You're going to have to pause and copy down example 4. Okay, ready? Like onto lined paper. Here we go. What do we do first? What do the notes say? What does this say? Factor first. This doesn't need to be factored, but this does. So I'm going to factor this. Okay, I'm going to just multiply the entire equation by x times x plus 2. So if I multiply this side by x times x plus 2, there's just not enough room to write it. So it's going to be a little messy. I'm going to multiply this term, x times x plus 2, and then this 3, x times x plus 2. So if you're writing it on lined paper, you could write it spread out. Okay, ready? Here we go. From here, what cancels? The x is canceled, yes? And what stays? What stays is 5 times x plus 2. Are there any fractions anymore? No. Okay, go to the next term. Plus 3. What cancels? And what stays? 3 times x. Equals, what cancels? All of this, right? X divides out with x, and x plus 2 divides out with x plus 2. So we have negative 3. Do you guys see that? How in one step there are no more fractions? FRAC. In one step, no more fractions. You tell me, is this linear or quadratic? Linear or quadratic? It's going to be linear because there's no x squareds. Okay, 5 plus 3 is 8x. Subtract the 10. I'm running out of time. 8x equals negative 16. What does x equal? Negative 2. I'm going to pause so that I can check my work. Okay, so what's wrong with negative 2? Negative 2 is one of the restricted values. So we actually get no solution because you get 0 in the denominator. Bummer, huh? Okay, so you're going to practice these 8, but you have the answers, okay? So please check the answers as you go.